Good morning, Columbia. It's Craig Augenstein for this edition of Navigo Business Buzz. I'm here at the Columbia Chamber of Commerce to interview Carl Blackstone, the CEO. I'm here with Carl Blackstone. He's a great friend of mine. He's CEO of the Columbia Chamber. So we're going to get to know Carl today. Carl, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How are you? Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Absolutely.
So originally from North Carolina,
Yeah.
from Eastern North Carolina, but I've been in Columbia about 22 years. I'm a recovering lobbyist. I spent about 14, 15 years at the State House and been here at the Chamber for about 9.5 years.
I think that's how we met because my father-in-law was,
That's exactly right.
yeah.
Good old Citadel guy.
That's right. That's right. And how long have you been at the Chamber?
About 9.5 years. I've been, my predecessor passed away. Ike McLeese was a long time member of this community and a great public servant. And when he passed away, they called me and asked me to come over.
Yeah. So what does the Chamber do?
If you go back, the Columbia Chamber's been around since 1902. The theory behind chambers were to find a way for businesses to partner with other businesses.
Okay.
And you need a conduit for that. So the chamber really was an avenue for businesses to start doing business with other people in this community. But it was also a way to protect businesses as well, to have a, if you will, trade association for business, to make sure that businesses run well, that our community and our government is basically working with business to make sure we have better soil conditions for business.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're advocates.
How many businesses are in the Chamber?
We have currently about 1,200 businesses throughout the Midlands.
Okay.
Our footprint is about a 35-mile radius of downtown. A lot of people think we're just downtown Columbia Chamber. We actually are a regional chamber. And that thought is to, let's think, we have a state chamber that thinks just on a statewide basis. Mm-hmm. We have some smaller chambers that just focus in their small areas. A regional chamber gives us the ability to really focus on things that impact all the Midlands. Mm-hmm. What are growth opportunities for the Midlands? What are opportunities that where businesses can be doing better? Mm-hmm. And so we try to focus just on those type of things.
How big a business do you need to be in order to join the chamber?
In fact, the majority of our businesses are small businesses.
Small business.
Very small businesses. Of course, we've got the big boys as well. So we range anywhere from a single solopreneur mm-hmm. all the way up to 15,000 employee companies. And so we run the gamut.
Wow. So if I'm a member of the chamber, what do I do?
So first,
as a business,
I mean, the idea in the old days, I think it was just the civic thing to do is join the chamber. And actually what we've got to do is provide a ROI for our partners. Mm-hmm. If we can't provide that, then they're walking. I mean, right. The value of a dollar has changed. So we obviously offer networking opportunities, marketing opportunities. One of the bigger things we're working on to be a stronger chamber is from an advocacy standpoint. Mm-hmm. We've got a full-time lobbyist at the State House that works on business issues. We deal with local, we have a person that handles just local governments. We also have a significant presence in working with our military community. The military is a quiet partner for us.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is the military as itself is about a $6.6 billion impact on our economy. So it's a huge driver of this market, though we don't see it every day.
Right.
Fort Jackson was actually some of our board members were the first ones to write checks to bring Camp Jackson here in 1916, which was pretty cool.
That's great.
They raised about $50,000 to donate land to the War Department. And so that's been a great public-private partnership. We have a full-time, not a full-time, we have a contract lobbying group up in DC that helps us manage that relationship and make sure that we get projects and money's flowing down to Fort Jackson, to McIntyre, to our Guard, National Guard. So we try to hit all the gamuts, if you will.
Tell us about your family.
So my wife, Mary Alice, and I have 4 daughters, all born and raised here in Columbia. We 2 attend the school in the upstate right now, but they're great, and we're blessed to live in this community.
Is there any hot button for the chamber right now?
So
some people need to know about.
Yeah, we're so fortunate in this community. We've got more assets than most cities could ever dream of. Mm-hmm. We don't utilize all those assets as best we should, but we're working towards that. We're fortunate in the sense that Scout Motors has decided to call Columbia home. That's going to transform this community. Mm-hmm. I like to call it, we're the dog that caught the bumper, because the growth that we're going to see over the next 5 years is something we've not seen before. we've had steady growth in Columbia. We're because of the government influence of a capital city, we don't see the rise and fall like a lot of cities.
Yes.
People try to compare us to Charleston and Greenville, and that's just really not fair. We're slow and steady. We are truly the tortoise here. But Scout coming is going to change the dynamics pretty quickly. We've got a $2 billion project, 4,000 employees that are coming in 2.5, 3 years, and we got to be prepared. So with growth comes growing pains, right? And so we're trying to work with our public sector friends, our elected officials, to make sure that we're in the best possible place to accept that growth, to be prepared for it, whether it's roads and infrastructure, whether it's affordable housing, attainable housing, which is a crucial piece of the puzzle. And then we've got a workforce issue because we have one of the lowest labor participation rates in the country right now, but we're one of the fastest growing states in the country,
right?
Which is a dichotomy that most people want to scratch their heads. But we're bringing in more retirees than we are anything else in South Carolina.
Right.
60% of all the folks moving to South Carolina are retirees and not planning to be part of the workforce.
Right.
But then we got a workforce challenge. So how do we balance that? How do we attract good employees that have the soft skills needed, both for advanced manufacturing all the way to service jobs, restaurant, lodging jobs, you name it. We've got a shortage of employees, and we've got to figure that puzzle out. There's no silver bullet. So it's working with technical schools and K-12 education folks to try to find out what best way we can get the skills up to be able to walk right into a job.
Right. Right.
So that's a big challenge. The interesting thing about community development, if you want to call it that, it takes a long time. There are no quick fixes. And so what we're working on today may not see fruition until for 10 to 15 years. And that's just the long game we've got to play. But you got to start today to be prepared.
How much interaction do you have with the mayor's office?
Plenty.
Tons.
More than they probably want. No, Daniel and the city have been huge partners, as well as Mayor Andrews and Forest Acres and Mayor Miles from West Columbia. We deal with all the municipalities. What helps from a business standpoint is having as much seamless transition between the political lines. Nobody really cares about political lines unless you're dealing with business.
Right.
Whether it's permitting, regulatory schemes, and taxes. Those are the big issues that frustrate everybody from crossing lines. Outsiders' perspective, we're all just one region. I mean, Columbia is we got 800,000 people live in the greater Columbia area, the Midlands, if you want to call it that. And so trying to work with those local communities is important to make sure that businesses are heard, that we want our economy to grow. We want people to have a great opportunity to work, live, and play in this region. Sometimes we just got to nudge them a little bit to help us, because with this growth, as I mentioned, and the growing pains, there's going to be a significant pushback on this over the next couple of years. And it's certainly understandable that too much growth in one area is not always good. And so what we've got to do is make sure that we work in totality to think, what areas of the Columbia are not doing well? Why aren't they doing well? And how do we fix that? If it's in downtown Columbia and we've seen population loss over the last census in downtown Columbia, why? If the national trends are saying everybody's moving back downtown and we're not, all right, let's think through that and figure out how we can adapt. And so it's crime is an issue, education is an issue. But most importantly, attainable housing is an issue. So those are the big issues we're working on.
Yeah. Well, Carl, it's been great. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
the time. Appreciate it.